These are days of shaking, where pillars will fall to the ocean. We'll lie in the long grass of the garden and speak in their tongue.
Can you explain to me more what you mean by flow state? That seemed quite an interesting
Oh, well,
concept.
I'm no expert, Matt. I'm no expert, but I guess I just recognize it as in creative thinking. You know, there's limited thinking where we're being governed by anxieties, and being caught up in paranoias and in projections into the future and ruminating with the past. And, you know, that can very much be a kind of limited way of thinking. And I think flow state is creative thinking. It's when you have curiosity, and I would argue even a sense of it's not magical thinking in the sense of believing that in superstitions necessarily, but I think it's that curiosity and willingness to give agency to your imagination, to not limit your thoughts into, well, I can't possibly write that because that's not real. You know, it's like the pressure we put on ourselves to, I think sometimes I personally anyway, I can put a lot of pressure on myself to write something of worth and of good quality, and it's so limiting when you start to put these kind of frameworks on what it is that I should be saying or writing, or the way that I should be making music. And I think when you get into the flow state as a musician, I think it's just when ideas start flowing and you just let go of all of the pressures and you start just becoming interested, becoming engaged, observing people, observing your own thoughts, maybe there is a song in the back of your head and you've just been ignoring it. And it's when you give it that time to emerge. That's being in a flow state. It's being present in it. You could call it mindfulness, but it's being in the present moment. And
that's a very human condition, isn't it? Because again, I know no doubt someone will correct me if I'm wrong. They'll type a comment in, but you know, humans are the only creature they're the only creature on the planet that has fiction. You know, all other animals are like, I'm hungry, I need to eat, there's the food. Whereas humans can be like, I'm hungry, I need to eat, but I'm going to wait an hour because I think I can get a better meal or something. But we're also the only creature that has a concept of our place in the grand flow of the universe, I think, because, you know, we all know that there were people before us. You know, we know that 700 years ago there were people, and we know what they did, and we know the mistakes they made, or the things they did, or the battles they fought, or the, you know, whatever. And we know that after we're gone, there are going to be people after us doing things, and everyone will remember each other. And like you say, it creates an anxiety, an inherent anxiety in the human, and a paranoia. Like, am I doing things right? Have I justified the past? Have I done service to the future? And I suppose being present, being in a flow state, is saying, well, from this I came, and to this I am going, and what I'm doing in between can only be judged in the future. I'm getting quite philosophical here, and I wonder whether there is a sort of a magical thinking, and flow state is maybe an element of knowing that you are not the center of the world, and that you are, you know, there's a stream and you're just flowing past, and your time is here, and be surrender to the enormity of it, perhaps, rather and therefore let go of those preconceptions that allow you to write a song that isn't how you think, you know, you should be writing. I don't know.
I think I'm feeling slightly lumbered by the fact that magical thinking can be also totally on the other end of the spectrum. And in terms of kind of psychology, it can be paranoia. It can be this thing of, if I don't knock on wood 3 times, then something dreadful is going to happen to me. And so, and I think that certainly, you know, the other side of magical thinking is the opposite. Maybe we need some different different distinctions in terms of, because it feels like it's almost like talking about folk music, and what is folk music? It just gets like,
No,
after a while you
don't go
go,
down that
oh,
road.
I don't know. Like it's, I mean, it's so many things to so many people.
Mm.
For me, that's why this whole sense of like re-enchantment is a really good kind of word, this seeking of re-enchantment. I would say that that's maybe another word for the magical thinking that I'm trying to do, which
Yeah.
is trying to bring enchantment and awe back into the world. But on the other hand, there is the magical thinking that can also almost do the opposite and can close people's worlds down and make them scared to go out because they're scared of the cameras that are going to be uh, following them, or the evil that's in the world.
Are you superstitious, Emily?
um I wouldn't call myself superstitious, no.
Right.
um I guess but I also would say that I can really understand and would encourage the creation of little daily or monthly or seasonal rituals, whatever they might be, if they bring a sense of an extra connection with each other and with the world. And I certainly think, just by that I mean things like doing some crafts with leaves. It's the kind of thing you do as well when you've got kids. But also I kind of think, well, actually, my mum did that with me, and then I'm starting to recognize that actually I really want to do that with my kids, because it's a lovely thing that just will take us out on a walk and will then get us engaging with the environment, and then we take it home and we I feel like I'm rambling slightly.
No,
but
no. It's interesting because I think I was sort of underpinning that, and I think we're throwing a lot of terms, and it's like, but I'm thinking that the idea of you as a family unit working with leaves, leaf craft, is there is that sort of, you said it, that sort of contemporary paganism, because we think, oh yeah, this is us getting back to what we would have done, being with nature. But actually, you could swipe that whole term aside and just say it's just being human, because for the majority of the existence of Homo sapiens, our relationship with the land has been very more the ecosystem. We've been more involved in like it's a fair ecosystem. We're not going to eat meat all the time because we have to kill it and find it, and we need whatever, and we have to look after the soil and all those sorts of things when we're growing food. And it's only been in a relatively short time where we as humans have disconnected with that. So maybe it's not, we shouldn't term it sort of paganism or contemporary paganism, or try and put that sort of faith system on it. It's just about being a human, about connecting. And there is something inherently human with that we have to be magical. I'm not a scientist. I can read books about why leaves grow in the spring and they, trees shed their leaves in the autumn, but I don't really know why. I don't really understand that. So I keep that magical element, because as humans we have to have that thinking, perhaps. I don't know.
Well, I think certainly if you think about the stories we tell each other about, things like Aesop's fables and why things are in particular ways, I would say that those stories don't need to be discredited just because we know that it's not really why the leaves grow or whatever it is. I personally think that these stories still have power, and that we don't need to discredit them as something that's just for children, or think that they don't have use and meaning anymore. Because I just think that both can exist in parallel. Both, like you say, it doesn't have to be like, I wouldn't call myself pagan, but I also really understand and relate to the desire in myself to create rituals. And maybe ritual is too grand and it's too loaded and it's too, like you say, connected to the idea of great power and religion. I'm talking about little things, like you say, like I don't know, going and getting berries and just connecting with the world
Yeah,
outside. So
yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
It's a bit
But
of all.
I mean, do you call yourself superstitious? Would you say you're a
Oh, Emily.
superstitious person?
I don't think I am, no. But I'm
where
habitual.
pillars will fall to the ocean. We'll lie in the long grass of the garden and speak in dead tongues.